Here's how to keep moving forward without getting stuck. Can you tell the difference between these two attempts? Looking at the telemetry, we can clearly see the speed difference in all the corner phases.
To avoid hitting a ceiling in your pace, you have to constantly ask yourself,
how can I carry a couple more kph into the corner? It all unfolds with the braking. You must brake late and hard with the tires at the limit of losing grip under braking. This will start a chain reaction of events. Being hard on the brakes will make the car shift a lot of weight from the rear to the front. As a result, the rear tires will start to step out and the car will be in a loose state. And it's gonna be easier to rotate into the corner. From this point onward, we can induce more and more oversteer with the trail brake. Because the car is already rotated, you'll be able to keep the minimum speed up and be more aggressive on throttle, gaining time on the exit. This is the end result. But in order to have everything working in a perfect symphony, we must nail the first part of braking. This is gonna be different based on the type of car you're racing. Sports or Formula cars. For both, we need a late braking point.
But this will be impossible if we're under the limit of grip at the initial braking.
In GT cars, being at the limit of braking is accomplished by avoiding dropping the brakes too quickly. The general brake shape for a low-speed corner without an elevation change should resemble more like a rectangle. Hard initial braking, holding the brakes until the car starts turning, and then trail braking into the corner. This is the opposite for a Formula car. You'll never be able to maintain a constant pressure without locking up the tires. That downforce is giving you more grip under braking, but as the car progressively slows down, the grip levels are dropping as well. The brake shape of a Formula car for a low-speed corner looks more like a triangle.
You're never gonna be able to brake at the same braking points as quicker drivers if you have to compensate for inefficiencies in braking.
If you're not braking hard enough in a Formula car, then the car will stop later, so you have to brake earlier. Conversely, if you're releasing the brakes too quickly in a GT car, then again you'll have to brake earlier since you won't be able to stop the car at that late braking point.
So under braking we have a short window in which we have to use all the available grip.
If we're braking a bit less, or if we're dropping the brakes too quickly, then we're not getting everything out of that window.
And there's one more extra benefit of being aggressive on entry.
The weight transfer. Shifting more weight on the front tires will make the rear looser, so the car will rotate more. A good sign that you're doing it is having to counter steer on corner entry. And here is where another big difference starts to appear. If you're not shifting enough weight to induce oversteer and rotate early on entry, then you will have to trail brake harder into the corner. What I mean by this is that you will hold a higher percentage of braking force in the trail braking part to rotate the car.
Don't get me wrong, trail braking into the corner is a good thing. But if you hold a bit too much pressure on the brakes, then you'll overslow the car.
A faster driver will brake just a bit softer in the trail brake because he has already rotated enough on entry, and as a result his minimum speed will be higher.
But let's say you're already braking at the limit. How can you put more speed into the corner?
Assuming both drivers are braking in the same way, can you tell which one is carrying a bit more speed into the corner? The right side driver is a bit quicker. That's because he has just a slightly bigger arc into the corner. If you increase the radius of a corner, you'll carry a lot more speed. This is a known fact. But even at the top 5% of drivers, you will see that they're not doing it perfectly on some tracks. What I mean by opening a corner is using all the track. Everything. Every last inch. Hell, even exploit a bit of it if you're not getting a penalty. It doesn't look like the left side driver was using a lot less the track, it was barely a few inches as you can see, but those made him lose half a tenth in the corner. Maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but he's doing it in almost every corner. In 10 corners, that's already half a second of lap time that he's losing. You do the math for the whole race. Let me give you an example. If the edge of the track has a bit of grass, I aim to feel in the force feedback that touch of the tire barely crossing the grass at turn in. That's how I know I'm using all the track. If the car looks like it's all the way to the outside, but I'm not feeling the grass on the tire, then I'm not using all the track. It might look like it, but I'm not 100% using everything.
I'll add here one additional tip. Avoid positioning the car at the last possible second. It will just hurt your ability to properly exploit the track.
This will always make you use the steering wheel a bit more, which is bad because you're scrubbing speed, but also you're arriving too late at your turning point. This starts a chain reaction of events in which you have to cover a larger radius with your steering wheel because the car is not yet pointed to the corner. Look at the difference at turn in between the two approaches. Not only you'll have to brake more, but it becomes really difficult to hit the apex since you can't properly see it. And the subtle thing is that you introduce a different type of weight transfer. When we're braking, we're shifting the weight back to front, but if you're also going from one side of the track to another, then you're also shifting the weight from that side to the other. This is exactly what happens here. Besides the regular back to front weight transfer, this driver is shifting some weight from the right to the left, even though the next corner is a right-hander. This obviously makes the car a bit lazy to turn with that non-ideal balance. Overall, the habit of preparing too late a corner makes your life harder because if you don't do it when you have time, you'll end up rushing it last moment, which will result in you overheating the tires, scrubbing speed, but at the same time having that non-ideal balance because of the second type of weight transfer. There's actually one more downside to this mistake. Rushing all those inputs when it's too late uses a lot more mental power, which makes us prone to errors. You want to avoid picking this bad habit by preparing the corners in advance.
In the end, my advice is focus on throwing the car with a bit more speed into the corner. If you're already close to the limit, more speed might mean just 1 extra kph. But if you're further back, it might mean 10 extra kph. You see, this concept can be applied at all levels. And I went into all the details in my sim racing course. There's a lot of approaches that you can use to improve your corner entry and maintain that car with more speed towards mid corners and exit. I have around 7 hours worth of content in the course, it's in the video description, and if you have time to study, if you want to invest in getting quicker, learning the fundamentals, then I think that's gonna be a good resource. Also, if you have questions about this video, if you have concepts about things that we talked about here, you can either use the comment section below or you can join my Discord channel. I have a lot of sections there and you will find like-minded people that are trying to improve. I'm quite active there and I'm trying to answer as many questions as I can, but we also have a lot of quick drivers there, quick drivers that are racing the top split, and they're also familiar with this concept. Thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around. I hope this was something that you learned from, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Bye bye!